Same fate. I'm gonna knock out Jake Paul.
Yo, you, by the way.
Oh my goodness! What is going on?
Mike Tyson loses it on Jake Paul, and Jake breaks. Jake Paul messed with the wrong legend. See, Jake probably thought this was just another social media stunt. Stir up drama, drop a few hashtags, talk some trash, and ride the clout wave. That's his whole playbook. It worked with KSI. It worked with washed-up athletes and retired MMA fighters. But this time, he picked a fight with Mike Tyson, not a YouTuber, not an NBA player, not some cage fighter crossing over. Mike freaking Tyson, the man who was knocking people out before Jake was even a thought. Jake thought he could hype it up, toss some memes around, and make it to the ring without consequences. But Tyson? He's not about that drama life. He's about pain. Now let's get something straight. Tyson isn't one of those hotheads like Floyd Mayweather or Evander Holyfield. He's not quick to snap. In fact, outside the ring, Tyson's chill. He's calm, reflective. He gives people chances. But when you start messing with his in-ring reputation, when you play games with his fight, you've just crossed a line you can't uncross. So, back to this fight. Tyson versus Paul. The hype was unreal, and even with age and past health scares, Tyson wasn't showing up just for a paycheck. He was showing up to make a statement. His training? Absolute madness. Think Rocky montage on steroids. He was sparring with younger, hungrier fighters, killing it in the gym, drenched in sweat, grinding through every painful, exhausting moment like a man who had something left to prove. This was more than prep. It was the rebirth of a warrior, but then, boom, a health scare hit. Tyson was slammed by a vicious ulcer flare-up, and not the kind you sleep off. This was the kind of pain that makes even Mike Tyson question everything. His doctors were alarmed. They told him flat out, "Step in that ring and you're risking your life." But Tyson? He wasn't trying to hear that. In his mind, canceling was for quitters. And Tyson doesn't quit. Not for pain, not for fear, not for anything. He was still determined to push forward, still grinding through the agony, still clinging to his love for the sport and the fans. But eventually, even Iron Mike had to face reality. When the medical team laid it all out, life-threatening complications, long-term consequences, Tyson had to make the hardest call of his career. Not because he was afraid, but because he knew he had more to live for. And Jake? When Tyson finally let loose and tore into him, it wasn't a performance. It was the controlled rage of a man who had been through hell, trained for war, and had to walk away, not because of weakness, but because of wisdom. Jake didn't know what he signed up for, and after Tyson was done roasting him, he knew.
Same fate. I'm gonna knock out Jake Paul.
Tyson makes the tough call, and Jake Paul melts down. Postponing the fight wasn't easy. For a warrior like Mike Tyson, stepping back isn't in the DNA. But when faced with a serious health scare, a brutal ulcer flare-up, Tyson had to make a decision not just for his career, but for his life. It was a move that spoke volumes. Tyson respected the sport too much to step into the ring half-ready. He wanted to fight at his peak, not on painkillers and hope. And this choice, mature, calculated, deeply personal, showed the world that even a legend knows when to pause. Not out of fear, out of wisdom. Sure, the boxing world felt the sting of disappointment. Fans had been counting down the days to see Iron Mike back in the ring. But alongside the letdown came respect. Real fans saw it for what it was, a man protecting his legacy, not gambling with it. And just like that, the anticipation grew even stronger. The comeback was no longer just about a fight, it became a moment in the making. Then came Jake, and the meltdown. When news of the postponement broke on June 10, 2024, Jake Paul didn't take it well. For him, this wasn't just a delay, it was a full-blown derailment. His carefully curated hype train slammed into a wall. Jake being Jake, he didn't keep it to himself. On June 11th, he took to Twitter and Instagram, venting hard, "I can't wait around forever. My career, my momentum, it all matters. I respect Tyson, but I need to stay active." Urgency was written all over it. The dude was practically yelling into the void. But Jake wasn't done. Just 24 hours later, on June 12th, he flipped the script. With barely a pause, Jake announced that he was officially canceling the Tyson fight and pivoting to a new matchup, this time with Mike Perry, the bare-knuckle bruiser known for his brawling style and zero chill. The reaction? Pure chaos. The boxing world lit up. Some fans were furious, others were just stunned. Jake tried to justify the move, saying he couldn't let his career sit idle. That staying active, staying visible, was non-negotiable for him as a serious boxer. But let's be real. Walking away from a fight with Mike Tyson, no matter the reason, comes with a price. And Jake was about to find out just how heavy that price could be.
Obviously, devastating news. I'm heartbroken, speechless, gutted. We've been working so hard over here, everyone in this camp. And I just feel bad for everyone involved in this event, the whole undercard. Opportunity has been ripped from all of us, but I do value Mike's health first and foremost. Love that guy, I have so much respect for him, and I want Mike to be healthy. And he says he still is going to knock me out, and I bought myself some time. So Mike is still talking shit over there. But Mike, if you want to do this, like you said, behind closed doors, behind the scenes, you said you want to do this in Q4. You just need a little bit of time. So I'm ready whenever you are. This is too big of an opportunity. I think this fight's going to change the world. And I turn all my L's into W's. That's a motto I live by. The universe makes no mistakes. So let's see what's in store. But sorry this didn't work out. To everyone, the fans, love you guys.
Let's be real. Jake canceling was a slap in the face. Let's not sugarcoat it. Jake Paul canceling the fight with Mike Tyson wasn't just a scheduling decision. It was seen as a major slap in the face. This wasn't just any bout. This was the crossover moment. Old school, iron-gloved boxing royalty meeting the new age, algorithm-fed social media star. It was more than a fight. It was a cultural event, a generational clash, and Jake walked away from it like it was just another YouTube collab gone stale. By bailing, Jake didn't just sidestep a dangerous opponent. He disrespected Tyson's legacy and downplayed the magnitude of what this fight meant. For Tyson, this was about pride, redemption, and proving that true warriors never really hang up the gloves. For Jake, it suddenly felt like just another marketing play. Then, on June 13th, 2024, Jake tried to flip the narrative. He announced a new fight, this time with Mike Perry, a bare-knuckle brawler with a fan base but nowhere near the gravity or legacy of Tyson. Let's just say, it didn't go over well. Instead of applause, Jake got backlash. Fans saw right through it. It wasn't about staying active. It was about avoiding a fight he couldn't control. And in that moment, Jake Paul went from the problem child to the one who blinked.
Yeah, the news is true, folks. I, Jake Paul, will be fighting Mike Perry, Tampa, Florida, July 20th.
Jake tried to spin it, of course. He claimed the new fight with Mike Perry would keep him relevant and give fans the action they were craving. But no one was buying it. To most, it looked like what it was, a strategic dodge. Choosing Perry over, Tyson didn't scream, "Stay active." It screamed, "Avoid the real challenge." The optics were bad, really bad. It felt like Jake was taking the easier route, and the boxing community let him have it. Criticism came fast and loud. The internet roasted him. Hardcore boxing fans called it a cop-out. And then Joe Rogan, never one to hold back, dropped the hammer. On his July 14th, 2024 episode of The Joe Rogan Experience, he called Jake out directly. Let's be honest, Mike Perry's tough, sure, but he's not Tyson. If Jake really wanted to prove something, he'd wait and fight the man. And that was the tone everywhere. The narrative shifted overnight. Jake wasn't being bold. He was playing it safe. And in the fight game, safe doesn't earn you respect.
There's not a fucking chance in hell that Jake Paul would survive against the Mike Tyson that beat Marvis Frazier.
Rogan's words hit home for a lot of boxing purists. For them, Jake's decision wasn't just a career move. It was a disservice to the sport. Backing out of a fight with a legend like Mike Tyson felt like spitting on the very foundation of boxing tradition. And Rogan wasn't alone. Michael Jai White, actor, martial artist, and a respected voice in the fight world, chimed in during an interview days later. He didn't hold back. Fighting Mike Tyson isn't just about a payday. It's about legacy. You don't walk away from that because it's inconvenient. Jake Paul had a chance to test himself against a real warrior. Instead, he took the safer road. That says a lot. Those words echoed through fight gyms, online forums, and podcasts everywhere. Jake had talked the talk for years, but now, when it came time to step up against a true icon, many felt he blinked. And in the unforgiving world of boxing, reputation can fall as fast as a knockout punch.
Pulls this off. I see Mike Tyson punching him in the body, and I don't see how Jake stops that. Jake is not of the size to give Mike a problem. Mike can be, big.
White's words struck a deeper chord, highlighting something a lot of people were thinking but hadn't said out loud. This wasn't just about Jake Paul or Mike Tyson. It was about respecting the sport. Jake's decision, intentional or not, undermined boxing's rich heritage. Fighters stand on the shoulders of legends, and when you walk away from one, it sends a message. Meanwhile, Mike Tyson remained the picture of professionalism. Despite the pain, despite the health scare, he didn't lash out. He didn't throw blame. Instead, he did what real champions do. He kept his cool. He made the tough call to postpone, not cancel, because he believed the fight, and the fans, deserved the real deal. That kind of humility and respect, that's what sets legends apart. In stark contrast, Jake's approach came off as self-serving. His impatience, his me-first attitude, and his scramble to stay in the spotlight made him look more like a brand manager than a boxer. The fight world noticed. And so did the legends. Even Floyd Mayweather weighed in. In an interview that aired shortly after Jake's Perry announcement, Floyd kept it cool but clear. You can't play boxing. Either you're all in or you're not. Mike Tyson deserved that respect. You don't walk away from a fight like that unless you have no choice. That simple line, "You can't play boxing," said it all. Because when you step into that ring, it's not just about business. It's about legacy, discipline, and heart. And at that moment, Jake Paul looked like he still had a lot to learn about all three.
Fucked up by Canelo. Oh, I'm sorry. It's TMZ.
You can curse. You can curse.
I apologize, but
No problem.
There's no way he get demolished.
Fans didn't hold back, and neither did Tyson. As soon as Jake Paul announced he was ditching the Tyson fight, fans lit up social media like wildfire. Hashtags like Respect the Legends and Paul vs. Tyson began trending as people from all corners of the boxing world called Jake out. The message was loud and clear. This fight mattered. And Jake walking away from it? That was a slap in the face. But while the internet exploded, Mike Tyson chose silence. At first. No Twitter rants, no fiery interviews, just silence. But even that silence spoke volumes. You didn't need a soundbite to see it. Tyson was deeply disappointed. This wasn't about business. This wasn't about hype. His postponement came from necessity, a real health scare, not a lack of heart. The man was ready to go to war. But Jake's response? Walk away and pivot to an easier fight. That contrast couldn't have been clearer. Tyson represented tradition, discipline, and respect. Jake represented hype, impatience, and ego. And that clash of values hit a nerve, a deep one. It wasn't just about two fighters anymore. It was about boxing's soul, the old guard versus the new wave, and suddenly the whole world was watching. But if Jake Paul thought Mike Tyson was just going to stay quiet forever, he was dead wrong. When Jake officially canceled the fight and announced a new matchup with Mike Perry, Tyson snapped. What followed was vintage Iron Mike, raw, unfiltered, and absolutely explosive. In a public statement that shook the fight world, Tyson torched Jake Paul. This wasn't just a fight. This was about respect, legacy. You don't walk away from something like this unless you're scared. Jake Paul's never faced a real challenge. He's all bark, no bite. But Tyson didn't stop there. He dropped a bombshell that set the internet on fire. He accused Jake Paul of using steroids. These wins he brags about? Tainted. He's been juicing, and everyone in the industry knows it. Just like that, the gloves were off, and the accusations were flying. The fallout was immediate. Headlines exploded. Analysts, fighters, and fans alike swarmed social media and podcasts with takes. For many, this was the tipping point. The narrative around Jake Paul flipped, from self-made disruptor to opportunistic showman. And now, with steroid accusations looming, even Jake's most vocal supporters were going quiet. The boxing community, already skeptical, now had every reason to question Jake's legitimacy. Respect was gone, credibility hanging by a thread. Mike Tyson's words hit harder than a right hook. And the damage to Jake Paul's reputation? Massive.
But once he's in that ring, you have to fight like his life is dependent on it, because it will be.
As the dust settled, one thing was crystal clear. Jake Paul's decision to walk away from the Tyson fight wasn't just a career detour. It was a major turning point with far-reaching consequences. The backlash wasn't just noise. It exposed a deep and growing divide in the boxing world, a clash between traditional values and the new era of social media spectacle. Jake's choice to swap a legendary bout with Mike Tyson for a safer matchup with Mike Perry? That move set off a firestorm. The boxing and entertainment worlds erupted, slamming the decision as cowardly and disrespectful. Joe Rogan summed up the sentiment best. Picking Perry over Tyson is the easy way out. It's a slap in the face to everyone who wanted a real fight. His words hit hard. Fans felt betrayed by Jake's sudden switch, and Rogan didn't mince words about the damage it caused. This isn't what boxing is about. It's about respect. It's about facing the toughest challenges, not handpicking opponents to stay in the spotlight. Even Evander Holyfield spoke out, reminding everyone what boxing truly stands for. Boxing is about honor, about bravery. What Jake did goes against everything this sport represents. Meanwhile, Tyson's response served as more than just a personal reaction. It was a wake-up call for Jake Paul. The message was loud and clear. Respect the sport. Respect the traditions, respect the legends, or risk being shut out by the very community you're trying to impress. The fallout from Tyson's words, backed by other legends of the sport, was a lesson Jake couldn't ignore. His credibility had taken a serious hit. And in a world where legacy is everything, that kind of damage doesn't just fade.